Hey, what's up, everybody? I'll be coming out with a new podcast this week called Tough as They Come. I'll be sharing stories with people who've been to hell and back, showcasing the power of perseverance and the ability to rise above overwhelming adversity. These are stories that resonate with all of us. Check us out, Tough as They Come, coming out this Tuesday. Hey, everybody. Thanks for listening to RawKnux podcast. Please like, follow, and subscribe.
Say hi.
What's up, guys?
What's up there, Mark? How are you, man?
What's going on?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Now, Ty's...
Look at the municipal. Look at the municipal. They're just asking.
Dirty Dorchester. Is he calling from Dirty Dorchester?
No, not Dirty Dot.
Dirty.
Ty's just telling me he could... you think you could take him in the ring with the gloves on, could you?
That would be 100% guaranteed fact in 1 minute.
Hello.
When I stepped on the ice, I never backed down, and I never stayed down.
And I was vicious, and I was malicious, and I don't care.
He's a freaking madman. Look at him going to town.
Welcome, Ty, to the RawKnux podcast. Tim and I, listen, we've had so many people email us, text us, you got to have Tie Domi. And I said, listen, I am trying. You don't know how. I'm trying to get in touch with his publicist. I call Wahlberg. I call Tom Brady. I say, can you get Ty for me? And they said, we'll try. And finally, Heather comes through big time.
My wife
Heather calls me and says, no problem. We'll take care of it. So awesome to have you. You're up in Toronto, visiting family and your buddy Wahlberg, I guess, right? Did he burn you out?
Yeah, I did.
Last couple of days?
Wait to get him out of here. He was.
So what'd you do? Did you do the workouts with him, the F45?
F45 and, the tequila we're involved in. It's called Flecha Azul. It's the number one sipping tequila as we speak. So he got me part of that. So he keeps me busy when he's here. I don't know how he gets energy, but that F45 knocked me out yesterday. So today I'm feeling the pain.
Yeah, it looks like a tough workout. Have you been working out, or were you just kind of taking it easy for the summer and all of a sudden?
I play squash. That's kind of my thing. It's like chasing the puck, but you only do 3 steps either way. So I play with my friend Mitch, who, he's a great player. And he gives me points, but he also has to hit to the back. I don't have to run to the front. So, and he's 10 years older than me, and
good.
He's that good. But it's great exercise. And
the Fletcher, right? You say it's a sipping drink. Did you sip it or did you swallow it?
I'm not a big drinker, as you know, Knuckles, but
I know
we had a big crowd, and he said, "Come on, Ty, come on, you gotta." So he chugged it down my throat a little bit, but I stopped it pretty quick.
It's a tequila, you said?
Yeah, it's a tequila. Yeah, it's good.
You ever tried Chelly's tequila? How's that?
Yeah, I went to his son's wedding. I had no choice. I went through the torture.
So the first time Ty and I meet, I go to the softball tournament, NHL ad every summer. If they ever had that today, people would get arrested. It'd be a problem. But back in the day, we went. We had a team. The Canadians had a team. The Red Wings, the Leafs, everybody. They sent the team, and we played this round-robin tournament. Anyway, I had an autograph signing with Chelly at a pro shop somewhere, and I walk in, and who do I see? This little kid comes out to me. He says, "Hey, Chris, can I get your autograph?" And it was him, and I'll never forget it. He told me, I didn't know at the time it was Ty, but when we met later in life,
wow,
he brought it back. He said, "You remember the first time we met?" And I'm there, no, and it was in that store.
Were you still playing? Were you still playing, Chris?
I was playing the NHL.
Oh, wow, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, I got drafted by the Leafs. And he was, Chris Nyland, Stanley Cup winner, him and Chelly, the two American heroes, So I was kind of like just watching them the whole weekend. And it was like, I want to be like these guys kind of thing, and Knuckles was, believe it or not, he was one of my idols, and I wanted to be like him. And and I saw how he played in the playoffs, and I was a kind of a tough kid, and he was a tough kid, and but he could play, and he got to play in the playoffs. So when they were winning, and I see how much he played, and he was a big factor on the checking line, and I'm like, I want to be like that guy, And then when he played for Team USA, I was like, man, I wish I could play for Team Canada, but I knew that was never going to happen. But Knuckles was always one of my idols growing up, and I was very blessed to become good friends with him. And I'm on his show now with you, Tim.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. And listen, I'll never forget that day. And I'll never forget another couple days that we had. And one of them, we were at a tournament in Cape Cod. And Chelly was there, and we were staying at a hotel, and we had a few cocktails. And I've never fought Ty on the ice. And I won't say it was a fight in the hotel hallway. It was a wrestling match. And I'm going to tell you right now, I couldn't pin Ty for nothing. He had me down. I tried everything to get up, Tim. I could not move. He buried me, and then Chelly jumped in to try him, and then he buried Chelly too. Right, Ty? Remember that?
Yeah. We were at Cam Mealy's golf tournament. I'll never forget. And we went to Jay Miller's bar. You remember? And you and Chelly were chirping at me in
the courtyard.
And we went and
the courtyard.
I pushed Chelly in the fountain. You remember? Do you remember that part? And then
I do.
Chelly wanted to get it on, and I love Chelly, but I kind of was a strong kid, but you were the guy, and you were determined to keep coming at me. And
God!
I wish we had phones then and we could have videoed it, because honestly, I still picture you coming back. And Tim, if you know Knuckles, he doesn't give up. He kept coming back and coming back and coming back, and he's my idol, So I get him down. He's like, there's spit coming out and everything. He's like, I'm going to get you.
I was foaming at the mouth, and I got up in the morning. Well, obviously, I had a hangover. But, Tim, I had rug burns, okay, on my elbows, my forearms, my knees, everything. He had me pinned. I'm trying to get up, and I just had this big burn on my elbow it was crazy. And then Chelly tried, and forget about it. Ty beat us both, and we're like, okay. We waved the white flag finally, and we had a couple cocktails to put us to bed.
That was great memories, Knuckles. I'll always cherish that, throwing you and Chelly around. That was years later after Niagara Falls experience, and experiencing that with you guys in Boston at the Cam Mealy's golf tournament. That was pretty memorable.
Yeah, it was fun. Awesome time.
Just wrestling your idol. That's actually really cool. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We and listen, I got to find out more about you, because you spend your time with like Chelly, Wahlberg, Tom Brady, all the boys, and I want to know a little more about you. And growing up, like, I met you that time when you're young, but you were a good athlete. What drove you to hockey? First of all, the aggressive nature of it, one. But what were the other sports you played growing up?
Well, I was number one was soccer and baseball.
Yeah.
And then when I got to high school, it was football. Hockey, I didn't start till I was 10. My parents won't let me because they're European parents, and they thought I would get hurt. Believe it or not, they'd always say, too dangerous. So, but soccer was really my number one sport. But getting through school, I was probably the best athlete in the school as a kid in every sport, in volleyball, basketball, track, everything. And so that's really how I got through school. I was dyslexic, so they didn't really know what dyslexia was at the time. And so that's really what sports got me through school. And that's all I look forward to is after when the day was over, I was looking forward to what sport I was playing. And, I wasn't a dumb kid, and my parents knew that, especially my mother. But, I went through that experience, and I went, to a school, because my grades, I just didn't have that attention span. And, I never read a book in my life. Right. And, the exam would come and I would draw pictures. And I was one of those kids that, I just couldn't hold it together in class. And getting through school was really, sports was my thing. And that was kind of my medicine and got me through life. And then I was fortunate enough to actually be a hockey player at a young age. I started at 10, but I started playing junior hockey when I was 14, junior C. And Marcel Prono was my coach, who won Stanley Cups and everything. I was very blessed. And Ted Lindsay was the speaker at the banquet. And I'll never forget, we won the All-Ontario Championship, and I was 14. And my team was all 18, 19, 20-year-olds. And these are all guys that had beards and drove and everything. And I'll never forget Ted Lindsay. I got to meet him because Marcel played with him, and he spoke at our banquet. And he said, the key is, he says, this and this. Doesn't matter the size. So when Ted Lindsay said that, I saw the size of him. He wasn't that big of a guy. I think that's kind of what really kind of triggered me to want to be a hockey player and professional, NHL player. And I knew I was going to be able to be going to Michigan or Harvard or any of that stuff. And Michigan was looking at me for football. All the schools looking at me for hockey. But once they found out about my academics, they knew I wasn't going there. So,
I want to ask you about that. The dyslexia. Now, not being were you not diagnosed properly?
No,
Is that it?
You really weren't diagnosed when I was young, but the older I got, then.
So you weren't diagnosed.
Yeah.
How?
When I got to Peterborough was known as Peterborough was, when I went to Peterborough as a 16-year-old, they were known as education, and you can only get, a Dick Todd, coach and general manager, said to me, he said, Ty, don't worry about school. He said, just, don't drag any guys down with you. So I was at the rink every day. Yeah. I didn't go to school. I'd go to school for lunches and go check out the girls and stuff. But other than that, I was at the rink playing ping pong every day. I was a ping pong champion, and I'd play with the coach, So I didn't.
They covered for you.
They covered for me.
The coach covered for you.
Before I went to junior, every class in school, I would ask to go to the washroom. I would say 10, 15 minutes in, and I would be in the gym shooting baskets, or, I would be doing something sports wise. So the teachers knew I wasn't a bad kid. And once I got to high school, I was that guy. We won the championship in football, and I was the running back. I was middle linebacker, kicker, punter, and I never left the field. And we won the championship. So when I got to grade 9, and I literally got put to grade 9 because they wanted me for the football team, because we never had football in grade 7 and 8 and stuff. So the high school coaches really wanted me to get there. So my grade 8 teacher, who actually was Mr. Parr, he was an amazing guy. He was a coach of all the sports teams in my public school. So he gave me 50s just to pass. But when I went from grade 7 to the school that had special needs to learn, I went there for like a week, and all the teachers said, "You don't belong here." So then I went back to the school, public school, and all my teachers, welcomed me back, and we won all the championships and soccer and volleyball and basketball. And then I went to high school, and we won football championship. But I played junior hockey, and after my grade 9 year, Marcel Pronovo came to my mother. My mother couldn't speak English too well, and he was, Marcel Pronovo, right, Hall of Famer and everything. And he said to my mother, "Ty's only got to play one sport, Mrs. Domi. He's got to play one sport." So my mother actually made me pick one sport, and I got picked to go to Europe. And my father said I was too young to go to Europe to be a soccer player, but I got drafted 7th round in Peterborough. And I ended up going there and made a living out of it, and no regrets. But
so
it was definitely a journey before that, and education wasn't one of them. But I had great experiences and had great teachers that understood that I wasn't a bad kid or anything. I was that guy.
That had to be tough navigating all that.
Now they got all that stuff figured out, right? But when I was a kid, they really.
Yeah. Now, no one picked on you and stuff like that in school, right?
Well, that's the thing.
being
right?
dyslexic
I
and
was
not having good grades.
No, I was the toughest kid in school. So I was sticking up for all the academics, and I don't even know if I don't know if I'm allowed to say nerds now, but
yeah, you can say that.
Like they were all my friends, right? And I was friends with everybody. The rockers, the jocks, the nerds, everybody, right? But the nerds helped me, get through school. Like I would sit next to the smartest people all the time and they'd show me their tests, right? So I had a lot of people that went to school with me. They all remember that, and I protected everybody. I was the guy on the schoolyard that protected everybody, and I didn't pick. I wasn't a bully. I didn't pick on people, but I did what I did in public school, like I did in the NHL, like you did, Knuckles. I took.
Well, where does that come from? I want to know where that comes from, though. The toughness. I mean, you're not a big kid. What are you, 5'8"? 5'8"?
Easy.
Okay. Well, what are you? That's what it's listed.
5'9.5".
Yeah,
right,
okay. Right, Ty?
all right,
That's 5'8". I'm 5'9" too. Yeah, I always.
Okay, all right. You two little guys gonna pick on me now?
yeah. We'll wrestle you.
But
you two can wrestle me. You'll get me.
I think the fighting stuff. Like I grew up a tough kid, I'm a street kid, and I always protected my friends. And my brother was a lot older than me, and I hung around with him and his friends. And one time I was 13 years old, and my brother was getting beat up. And when you see your brother getting beat up by somebody, I don't know what happened, but I was 13 years old.
You're stepping in.
I stepped in, and I just kind of lost it. And I jumped on the guy. He was much bigger, much older than me. And I just started pumping him. And I hit him like 30, 40 times. And he had white hair, and it was all blood. It was like blood all over, right? We go home, me and my brother, we go home, and 20 minutes later, ding dong. I said, oh no. Sure enough.
The kid's father?
It's that guy with his father, Mr. Proctor.
Wow.
The guy's name was Danny Proctor. And so my mom's at the door, and she answers the door, and my brother went with her, and Mr. Proctor says, look what your son did to my son. Look what your son did to my son. And I go, and I was much smaller, and I go between my mother and my brother, and I went, I'm sorry, Mr. Proctor. And he goes, he did that to you? Boom. Kicked him in the ass. Get your ass home.
And he got his ass kicked again.
Yeah.
That was kind of, where it really, honestly, I don't know. That's a memory that people always ask me, where'd that really come from? Like that guy was so much bigger and so much older than me. And I was kind of fearless, and he was beating up my brother. So I tell people that story. That's one that registers. But then when I played junior C, when I was 14, I led the league in penalty minutes, fighting 18, 19, 20-year-olds when I'm 14. So I was one of those guys that was kind of fearless, and I just, I throw both hands too, right? I do everything with both hands. So people didn't really know that. So I catch people off guard. Whatever hand was loose, I threw. So that was an advantage for a little guy.
Yeah, for sure. You get in on guys and be able to throw. You lower the ice. You're able to have that good balance, and you did have great balance. So you get drafted by the Leafs, 27th overall. Was that first or second round at the time?
I always say.
No, was it first round?
No, second. But I always say.
Okay, just the beginning of the second round.
27th overall, and they always say, "You're a first rounder." No, there was only 19 teams then.
Well. Yeah, that's what it was. Okay. So you're drafted by the Leafs. We were kind of part of a three-way deal, right?
Yeah.
You and I?
Yeah.
When I got traded to Boston for Greg Johnson, then they traded Greg Johnson to Toronto for you and the Rangers. You went to the Rangers. We were part of the same trade.
That trade caught me off guard because I was still a young kid, and I got drafted, and all of a sudden, but the Leafs were in a disarray at the time. And then when I got to New York,
they still are. Yeah. They're still in disarray. Don't kid yourself.
No, they're not. Come on.
They're all settled down.
When I got to the Rangers, Knuckles, you were a big name there in New York, and I was coming in to fill your shoes, which was big shoes to fill. So, thanks for that opportunity because it started my career for sure.
Yeah, I ended up going to Boston. You went there. You went there in 90, 91, right? I went to Boston, and I was retired 2 years later, after I left New York. So, and then
you guys never fought each other? Did you guys ever get a chance or no?
No.
We never fought each other.
No, we never really, no.
Yeah, we wrestled in the hallway. That's it.
Yeah. Ty's 10-0 against you apparently.
Yeah.
Did we play against each other one exhibition game, Ty? Did we play an exhibition game against each other? Do you remember?
Remember? No, I don't remember.
Yeah, I don't recall because I'm sure you would have come after me and wanted to fight me. I would have tried to stay away from you, but after what happened in the hallway, no. Anyway, so you go to the Rangers, New York. You're right. It's just a short time with the Leafs. Then you get fighting in the NHL, and I don't want to get bogged down in the fighting too much, but it was a big part of your career. And people always ask me about my fights with Dave Brown. You had big fights with Probert. I mean, come on, Probert is one of the toughest guys in the league, if not the toughest at the time. And you guys had some serious bouts together. How'd it go, that first bout, and how'd that start with you and Probert, that first one?
Well,
did you call him on?
Really all started, that was the guy that I was targeting to make a name for myself. And every time I challenged him, he'd say, "Get away from me, kid, get away from me." But, like you.
I love him. I love Probert.
Yeah. And like you, I don't like really talking about fighting. I don't really do podcasts, but you're like my idol, my friend, and I'm happy to share these stories with
I appreciate it.
Guys like you. And Probert was a special guy to me, and like he was with you. You got to know him, and you guys were going through things of your own together at the time. But I still loved you guys and respected both of you, and always had that respect for you guys. And but Probert was that guy that I wasn't afraid of, and I got to find the opportunity to fight him. And he hit me a few times, and he didn't hurt me, and I kind of knew then. And I hurt him once for sure the first time. And we fought many times, and I got to know him after our careers. We weren't friends at all during our careers. We respected one another, but we weren't friends at all. But when I got to know him after our careers, he said to me, "Ty, I couldn't hurt you." And I said, "Probert, I said,
I know."
I said, "That's
Did you
why
wrestle him? Did you wrestle Probert?
Not like me.
No. I said, that's why I said, he said he couldn't hurt me. I said, I know. That's why I knew I could beat you, because I did hit him the first fight pretty hard, and he felt it, and he told me he felt it. So, and the conversations we had were very, very deep, very serious about our fights that we had. We had some real precious moments
in retirement
that I'll really cherish the rest of my life, and not share those private moments we had, because they were pretty deep, and he got deep. And we did that show of the Battle of the Blades together, and we spent a lot of time together. And I really got to see a side of him that was pretty special.
Yeah, he was like a big kid, Probert. He's just, Tim, he was like, honest to God, he was like the favorite uncle, He was just like a big kid. He was the nicest guy, fun-loving. And you think of the job he did, like Ty and I did, but and certainly what happened to him in the end, it was just so sad getting that news the day I got it. But
I did that
all those fights in.
That show that we did, they weren't going to have him because he had a criminal record in CBC, and I was a partner in the show, and they wanted me to be the face. And I said, "I'm not doing it unless Probert does it." And they said, "Well, he has a criminal record. We don't want to have anything to do with him." I said, "Well, I'm not doing it then." So I walked away, and a few weeks later they came back and they said, okay. So, I got Probert in, and you know, we ended up training for it. I didn't wear figure skates. We actually wore the figure skates. I wore them once and I toe picked and that was it.
Toe pick.
I didn't give a shit. But you know, that show, we did a lot together and we spent a lot of time together. He spent a lot of time with me, you know, away from the show. And I got to know his wife, Danny, well, and the kids, and they were young.
Yeah, she's awesome.
Yeah. But
Tim and I had Danny on.
I took the whole crew down to a U2 concert, and I'll never forget. We were right by the stage, and Proby the whole time he called his family, right? The whole concert because his family loved U2 apparently, and he put the phone by the speaker the whole concert. And to me, that tells you all about. He was a family guy, and you know he was so happy to be there, but he you know he wanted his family to be part of it, and he's missed by everybody. And you know, as much as we were big rivals and everything, we became really close, and he's always going to have a dear spot in my heart forever. And people talk about him, they talk about me, they talk about me, they talk about him, you know, and people remember those moments where they were when
they go hand in hand.
And when we were front page of the New York Times, not many hockey stories were front page New York Times back in the day. And it was like a big boxing event, you know, every newspaper in New York. And it was like the movies. And, you know, that first fight really changed my life in New York. And you talk about Mark Wahlberg and Mario Lemieux, like I became friends with those guys after that fight in New York from the China Club where, you know, the who's who would always be at.
Oh, well, they call you and say, can you get us in the China Club?
Well, no.
Is that what they
Mark,
did?
That's where I met Mark. He was Marky Mark, you know, at the time.
Mark, you met at the China Club. Tim, you've never been to the China Club, Tim, have you?
No, I don't think I have.
Oh,
no.
It's awesome. It's awesome.
Mario,
yeah, China Club was awesome.
Mario's Mario Lemieux, right? And I was stretched at center ice, and you know he's skating around, and he said something, man. I didn't hear him. I'm like, what? Like I'm stretched. He comes back around and he bends over, and I'm just getting ready to say. And he goes, "No, Ty, can you have me and 10 of my teammates in the China Club tonight?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, it's Mario Lemieux, right?" Anyway, he ends up scoring 4 goals that night. And,
and meanwhile, don't hit me tonight, and don't hit me tonight, Ty, either.
Yeah.
Okay, just get me in the China Club. Okay, Mario. Don't hit me.
Know, that's really people always ask me, how you and Mario are such close friends? How are you friends with Wahlberg? Actually, it's from those New York days, and I don't think if I had those fights with Proby, I would have people would have even known who I was, right? So it really did change my life a lot, and I'm grateful for the opportunity that Proby gave me, and it will always be a memory I guess people remember forever.
If you're like me and you're going to play some golf this summer, you have to check out this hidden gem. Windmill Heights sits atop the beautiful hills in Notre Dame de Perot. They have affordable rates and they offer customized membership opportunities for all levels. If you want to book a tee time, call 514-453-7177. Hit them straight. If you love your pet like I love my St. Bernard Adele, you'll want to feed them a balanced, biologically appropriate raw diet. The reason I've chosen Formula Raw is because all blends of their food are locally sourced and they consist of exclusively human-grade meat and organs, as well as fruits and vegetables. And all products used are hormone and antibiotic-free. So like I said, if you love your pet like I love Adele, you'll choose Formula Raw. Make sure you go to formularaw.com and use the promo code RawKnux at checkout to receive 10% off your first order. That's RawKnux, RawKnux. So I'm going to ask you about something now. Listen, I look back on my career. Did I have any regrets in my career? And I did. At the time I hit Middleton in the mouth, it was, a black mark on my career. That I regretted doing that. You get traded back to Toronto. You go back and you're playing against the Rangers, and you let Ulf Samuelsson have it, and you knock him out. And by the way, I was pretty happy when it happened. But like, did you play with him when you were in New York? Was he there?
No.
So you were never teammates. So what prompted that on your end? What pissed you off so much? Because I've been on the ice with someone pissed you off so much. What was that?
Well, as you know, his job was to piss off the best players.
Be an asshole.
And you and I are
he was to be an asshole.
That go at that guy. That assholes are our best players. But that situation, we had a little history from when I was in New York, as you say, New York. I was in New York. When I was in Toronto, I hit him in the corner, and he said, "Come on, dummy." I said, "What?" He says, "Dummy." I said, "You call me dummy again, I'm going to knock you out." He goes, "Dummy." Boom, knocked him out. I was thinking I was going to get 20 games. And Brian Burke called me in. He was a discipline guy. And he said, "What'd he say?" I'm like, "He called me a dummy." And I told him, "Call me a dummy again, I'm going to knock him out." And he called me a dummy. I said, "My dad just died. And I take respect to my father's last name. And it's insulting when someone calls me dummy." So I think I was going to get 20 games. That I ended up getting 8, which was, but that wasn't the most biggest regret I had in my career. The biggest regret I had in my career was Rob Niedermeyer elbow. And just to play that back, I was playing the best game of my career. I was going to be the first star of the game. Ron McLean and Don Cherry were waiting for me. I was going to be first star of the game. The place is chanting my name, Domi, Domi, right? And Pat Quinn thinking, because everybody's yelling my name, that he's going to put me out there so the fans can go crazy. I'm not thinking of that because we're up a couple goals with 30 seconds left. I'm thinking, is Niedermeyer out there? And I see him. He's out there, right? 2 games before, this is in the playoffs. 2 games before, I said, I'm gonna run you every time you touch the puck. And he said, "You're gonna have to go through my Easton tie." Right? I ended up full speed, cross corner dump, had him zoomed, right? Going full speed. And I was pretty fast, believe it or not. I was pretty fast.
I know you were.
I could get in. I know you were. And, as soon as I got close to him, go to hit him, he turned, and he just went and put the stick up, sliced me wide open. I got blood coming out of my face, cut me for stitches. No penalty, no nothing. Commercial, between the benches, right? Because I said
payback's a bitch.
I said to him, "I might not get you tonight, but I'll get you back." Right? And sure enough, 2 games later, that happened. People think I just did it out of, I just want to go elbow him. No, this was 2 games before. Unfortunately, I took their best player out and we still freaking lost. So it didn't help.
Right? Game 7, right?
Yeah. But, I was very effective that year, and that was probably the best hockey in my career I was playing. And it was definitely
you got suspended the rest of the playoffs, and then 8 games into the season. How many games in the playoffs were you suspended for?
The rest of the series. The rest of the series. If we went to the finals, I wasn't going to be suspended the following year. I wasn't going to be suspended the following year. But if we lost, I was going to get 8 games the following year. And that was the stupidest thing I ever did. You know why? I just wanted to give him a shot. I didn't mean to knock him out, but I hit him flash. Yeah. He was so fast, right? He led the rush, and he's coming down the boards. And when I got the tap on the shoulder, I see him out there. I wasn't thinking of the fans yelling my name. I was thinking, he's out there. We're up 2, and there's 30 seconds left. There's no way that they can score 2 goals. So I'm gonna give him a shot, right? Knocked him out.
Yeah.
As soon as I see the stretch, I was talking to Cujo. I said, "Cuj, I'm done." I knew it.
Was there any when you played them the next year, for the next time after that? Was there a revenge? Anyone coming after you?
Well, yeah. Ironically enough, and Jim McKenzie, I love the guy, and Pat Quinn said, "If you fight Jim McKenzie," he said, "you will not play the rest of the game, and you won't play the next game." I'm like, "Pat, come on, this, I fought the guy many times before."
Yeah, that's it. I love Pat Quinn, but how could he ask you to do that?
Yeah, and he
fight him.
he taught, and Knuckles, what it's like sitting there, and I've done it before.
Yeah.
I've played one shift in the game. It's not fun. You sit there, you're like a cheerleader that are just like demoralized. That was the first game, first shift of the game against the Devils, and I was kind of like playing well. I was like, I was a top tier player. I wasn't like a fourth liner. I was playing, and Jim McKenzie was just putting a line up to fight me at the time. He wasn't, a third or second line guy. He was put in to fight me. So I ended up fighting him, but it wasn't what I wanted to do. But Pat, Pat was Pat, man. He was the best. He was a dear friend. Him and Pat, the two Pats, Pat Burns and Pat Quinn, they were my favorite coaches, and like Probert.
And why is that? Why were they your favorite coaches?
Well, Pat Burns, he once I got to Toronto, he said, "I'm going to make you a player." He said, "Give me the best 35, 40 minutes every practice," because he had short practice but high pace, and game situation, like really high pace. And I'm telling you, like, if you give it your all, you're done by the end of practice, right? But your conditioning really goes up. And I didn't really realize that. Nobody's ever told me that. And I never had that challenge to me before. But he challenged me, and and he said, if you do this, I'll have you ready for playoffs, and you'll play with the top guys. You'll play, and he played me with Gilmore and Sundin in the playoffs against Chicago, and he did. I played with Gilmore and Sundin, and he lived by his word. So that's the kind of coach you always want to fight for and play for. That actually says gives you a challenge and says what he says he's going to do,
and he follows through.
Yeah, Pat Quinn, on the other hand, he was a little different. He would be waiting for me to come in his office if I didn't play over 10 minutes. He'd be waiting. He goes, "What took me so long?" Because I would go storming his office. "What the heck, Pat?" And he'd always say, "I'm saving it for playoffs time. Saving it for playoffs." That was his line all the time. And then playoffs, he actually ended up playing me a lot. And they both kind of made me an effective player in the playoffs, which that's what I missed the most is the playoffs. And I'm glad my son got to experience some playoffs now, and he really sees what it's all about. And that's what we play for is the playoffs. And that's what I missed. People say you missed.
Certainly going to be interesting to see what. It's certainly going to be interesting. You brought it up, your son in Toronto. They look like they toughened that team up for sure, no question about it. And I wanted to ask you about Max growing up. Now Max being diabetic, how difficult when you got that diagnosis of Max? Here's a young kid playing hockey. You want to do young kid things. You want to go out. Kids get candy. They drink soda. They do all that. How difficult was that for him, the young Max Domi, trying to navigate his way through playing hockey, playing sports, going to school, and being diabetic?
Well, Knuckles, you caught me off guard there, but yeah, it was. It changed his life for sure, forever. And it changed our whole family's life. And, unless you know anything about type 1 diabetes and you have it,
type 1,
you really don't understand it. And when you're 12 years old, Max always says, "I went to the hospital as a normal kid and I left as a type 1 diabetic." It really resonates. And he went through a lot. There's no question. He always tried to hide it. And I was the father that always had the juice and always, and I wasn't that father that yelled like everybody assumes. He was always the best player since he was a kid. He was always the best player. I never yelled. I was always, trying to make sure he was on top of his numbers. He handled it as best as he could. And now, knock on wood, he's really matured a lot. And now what he does with JDRF with all the kids, and kids look up to him and how he handles it. And because I tell him, "Max, tell these kids that their parents are trying to help them, because don't be like you were." Because now he realizes and laughs about it, because he used to always try and hide it. And now he's very open about it. And he actually talks to kids, and I get emotional talking about it because I don't know how he does what he does, because it's pretty amazing. And, one parent told me, he said, "We think we live with it because our kids have it, but we're just like spectators way up in the stands, because they live with it every single second.
Yeah.
And it's so true. And, I'm very proud of, what he's done to actually help kids with type 1 diabetes. And he's changed a lot of families' lives. And the letters I get and, the comments people make to me about that.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That and probably the other thing that, catches me off guard with him is the respect he shows for past players. You remember at Keeler's funeral, I'll never forget Serge Savard, Yvonne Cormier, and all you guys say how much they miss Max and how respectful he was. And every time he saw any ex-players, he goes over to them. And, I told him when he was a young kid coming in the NHL, I said, Max, I don't care where you're at, what kind of mood you're in. If there's an ex-player there, you make sure you go to him. And I'll tell you, that's the one thing I told him, besides telling him, enjoy every day of his career because it's going to go fast. But every ex-player that has run into Max, they always say that he went over to him. And that makes me more proud than anything because the respect,
that's good. And that respect,
respecting the history and the guys who paved the way, I think is something that, makes me more proud of him than what he does on the ice, to be honest.
Let me ask you this about the diabetes. Now, the type 1, and I read a thing about Max he has a dog that the dog, if his blood sugar gets low, the dog can alert him, right? It's a service dog, right?
Yeah, Orion's the best. He's not a type 1 diabetic dog anymore, unfortunately, because it's just it's too much to maintain. And Max has got a really intense life and schedule, and to a lot of travel and everything. So to maintain that kind of thing for Orion would have been difficult, not fair to Orion. So he's still Orion, like he's special as they come. But
well, how about Max? Like,
kind of.
What are some of the things that people don't know of what Max has to do to prepare himself for a game? And then during the game, does he have to check on his levels and all that stuff too?
I think the game changer was the Dexcom that came out. Dexcom now monitors and comes on your phone. So the trainers could actually have it on the bench and see if his number's going to go low or if his number's going to go high.
So if they go low, what do they have to do? They give them.
They'll give them juice, and they'll give them food. They'll give them something, and all the trainers have been really amazing. And Max is really good with it too. Now he's really matured. He's come a long way, and with type 1 diabetes, your emotions too. Your emotions go. So now he's been working on that, how to control the emotions, because you can't control your numbers sometimes with emotions, right? Come playoff time. Last year he had one of his best playoff games and his numbers were like 16, so he's working on that now to how to handle that and bring that down, which I give him a lot of credit because he's really doing a lot of research on his own and working at it. And, he just wants to keep getting better, and he's not getting comfortable. He's actually, and I always tell him, I got better the older I got and more mature I got in my career. So he's kind of taken on that lead too. So I'm very proud of him. And, obviously he played for Montreal Canadiens. He's played for a few original 6 teams in Montreal and Chicago. And, he really enjoyed Dallas, but, his dream come true is to come back to Toronto, and it'll be interesting to see how it goes. And I think he's going to have a lot of fun, and, wearing that jersey he's going to be like a kid. It's going to be fun to watch. So I'm excited for him, and I want him to stay calm, but I'm excited for him.
Yeah, no, I was just going to say, working on the emotions. So is that like with, is that a breathing thing, or does he work with like a therapist? I was just interested to know.
Yeah, Tim, it's
where'd you go, Ted? Oh.
He's always finding these doctors, to help him try and solve a lot of these things. And every sport does have type 1 diabetics. Not many in hockey, as you probably know. Him and Kaepernick, the kid on the Rangers. There's a couple other kids, but he's kind of taken upon himself to to really try and control his emotions so his blood sugars kind of stay even. And the more they stay even, the better he can perform. And I think that's kind of, where I get lost in the mix sometimes because, sometimes you see things that happen and you're wondering, and, you're wondering if his numbers are off or not. And that used to be the issue. Now it's like he's really on top of it. And I think the maturity and how he handles things now and how he prepares is at another level. And his preparation is much different than everybody else's.
Yeah, it's going to be nice to watch, see what the Leafs do this year. Obviously, Max going in there, going to toughen that team up. Bertuzzi, they made some moves here, big Reeves, right? It's gonna be interesting. It's time for the Leafs to step up here. I think they the new general manager made some moves there to maybe bolster this team where they hadn't had that before, right?
Yeah. And the good thing about this game, as you guys know, it's a new season. Day one, it's a new team, it's a new season, and you start all over again, and you got to reset. And I think the experience that Max has had now the last few years in the playoffs, I think, and what he's gone through, he played with Patrick Kane and Jonathan Taves and Joe Pavelski and Jamie Benn and those guys, and he's really learned a lot from those guys. I think being around guys that've been around with the experience, I think, has really helped him a lot, and his maturity. And we all get older and time flies, but he trains much harder than I ever did, and I skated with him for the first time a couple of weeks ago, and all I did.
You're out of shape. You can't even keep up with Wahlberg.
I just put my stick up
right
and watch him blow by, a few times. But it was nice to be on the ice. I got to tell you, it's the best exercise. I wish my body would hold up a little better so I could do it more often. But my body's not meant to be doing F45s or skating much anymore.
Well, listen, I want to ask you, looking at the game today, what do you like the way the game's going? Do you like that junior hockey here in Quebec, they're doing a little fighting? Do you think that's, you think that's a good thing, or you think it's a bad thing for hockey?
Well, if they're going to protect the players, if the league's going to protect the players, that itself is going to tell the story.
Yeah.
If guys are going to be targeted and you start seeing the best players go down, then they're going to say, "Oh, whoa,"
Yeah.
Well, that, as you know, and people see it during the regular season. They don't see it as much as they do in the playoffs. In the playoffs, you're trying to target the other team's best players because those are the guys that are going to beat you, right? So, and guys like you that were playing the playoffs, and I did, like, we could play too. We played in the playoffs, so we kept those guys honest, right? So it'd be interesting to see. People make their decisions for, and a lot of people, not just one person, made the decision for that. But in the NHL, I thought a lot of guys started getting hurt after they started taking the fighting out. Just after I retired, I think guys are playing a little more reckless, and the respect factor was kind of dropping a little bit. But I think it's come back a little more. The respect factor's coming back a little more, and I think they're understanding that you can't just take runs at the best players and try to hurt them and not be accounted for. And,
accountable.
That's kind of what we did. We policed the game when we played, and there's not many guys that police the game like we did anymore. But if the league is going to kind of protect the players, I'm all for that because it is a great game, and we don't want too many more incidents where guys get really hurt and career-ending injuries, which you hate to see on anybody. You
think you could play in today's game?
Yeah, actually, I would have loved to play in today's game because I could skate. I was pretty fast. I actually won the fastest skater at the Leafs a few times. So I was a fast skater. I trained as a track star, so as a track runner. So I was a fast.
You
skater.
have fast feet.
Yeah, and I got to play with top players in the playoffs a lot, and I spotted in and out in the top lines during the season, but playoffs I got to play a lot, and I guess because I was a checker too, like Knuckles in the playoffs, and I was fast, and I like to play interface hockey and playoffs. There's nothing better.
It's the best.
Well, that brings me to my next question. Then, would you a big fight or a goal? Which one would you prefer?
A win. I was all about winning.
Come on, answer the question. You can answer the question.
Nux was like goal, like right away.
Right away. People
winning.
say, "Oh, would you rather score a goal or win a fight?" I'd rather win a goal.
Winning
the
game.
Stop.
Winning the game.
Stop.
I'm just telling you.
All right. Just say you win the game. Would you rather have won a fight during that game or score a goal?
In New York.
Come on. I'd rather score a goal. To me, scoring a goal is the best thing ever in the NHL, and not one to make it. We're losing 5-0, and my goal made it 5-2 or something. Scoring a goal. I love scoring goals. No feeling. It was unbelievable when I scored a goal. I absolutely went batshit crazy.
Yeah. Okay.
I loved it.
That's you. I like to win.
Well, how many did you have, by the way?
You had a lot.
How many?
104.
Yeah.
104.
Jesus. That's a lot.
That's a good amount of goals. 245, 1,000 games. You made 1,000 games. I wish I played 1,000 games. Did they give you the silver stick?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah, Max has it. Yeah.
Did you? Oh, good. Good. Yeah. God bless you. That's good. You got it. When the
top guy in all those games was number one was Matt Sundin, and the second guy was Thomas Caberlet. But there's a lot of names on that stick that I played with, which is pretty cool. So.
Yeah. Right. That's awesome. You got that
nice
stick.
All the guys that I even played one game with, which was pretty cool. We never played together, did we, Tim? You were in Toronto, weren't you?
Yeah, I was after you. You guys are old. No.
Yeah. No, but I remember you played in Toronto.
Yeah, I was there right when Ron Wilson came in as the coach. And then Brian Burke, that's when Berkey came in.
Right.
So it was,
Yeah, there's been a lot of tough years after I retired here, unfortunately for the Leafs. But I'd rather not say anything negative about anything. But the guy.
No, you can't. No, the son's playing for the Leafs now.
Yeah,
I can say the negative stuff though. That's not a problem.
It's no hidden secret.
So pretty cool.
John Ferguson did screw up the Leafs for a lot of years. He was single-handedly responsible for that. For many, many years.
And before him, it was Harold Ballard. And Harold screwed him up for years.
No, Pat Quinn did a great job.
Oh, come on.
Cliff Fletcher did a great job.
Harold Ballard?
That was before.
Fletcher did a good job.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm saying when I was playing, boy, the Leafs, we used to go in there. I'm like, wow, this is sad for this team. And honestly, people talk about tough hockey players. To me, one of the toughest guys ever played the game was Boris Salming. And I say that because he came over here. He was one of the first Europeans to come over here. And the shit that guy put up with and still continue to go out there and play was unbelievable. Yeah. I found him to be one of the nicest guys I've ever met in the game.
One of the
Boris
best.
Salming.
I actually got to know my first training camp in Toronto, and John Brophy was skating me around.
What a sweetheart.
Yeah, and John Brophy skating me around, because I was a tough guy. He was trying to show me, Mr. Tough Guy. Right?
Bro.
And Borja came over and said, "Bro, take it easy on the kid." So I actually stopped skating. I think he would skating for days. He just kept me center ice, going around and around. I was getting dizzy. Then he'd say, "Go the other way." I was like, "Oh my god!" And then Borja came out. Thank God. Actually, Borja brought me to my first bar in Toronto. Him and Russ Cortnell. They brought me to a bar called the Big Bob in Toronto. That was my
Big Bob.
18 years old. Got out of my white stretch living with Boris Salming, the king. That was Yeah, that was one of the best.
You felt like a big cheese, right?
Yeah. I drive by that place all the time. It's on Bathurst and King Street. I still think, oh man, what a memory.
So, Ty, a lot of people don't know this though. You were a place kicker for the Argos in 2 exhibition games. Did you get to kick any extra points?
Yeah, I did. Yeah. And the deal was,
That's
the deal.
awesome.
As you say, here's the deal.
I want to hear, what's the deal?
Here's the deal.
Hey,
To
Tim,
make a
you say
t-shirt.
that all the time? Here's the deal.
All the time. Here's the deal.
Here's the deal. I'm from New York, Boston. We do that, Boston. No,
Thank God you got that nice Irish wife of yours, Heather McDonough.
Heather.
Heather McDonough, nice Irish girl you got.
Wahlberg say it the same way. Heather from Boston, from Heather.
No, Wahlberg's tainted. He's tainted. Someone taught him how to speak normal now. He's done. You never hear his accent anymore.
I call him a Hollywood diva.
No
That's
way.
what I call him, Hollywood diva.
He is. He is a little. Hey, you're taller than him, aren't you?
Same, yeah.
He's a peanut. He's a peanut. And he is. He's short.
Short.
Listen, I was in LA with Probert years ago, and we went in this bar, and he was in there up against the wall talking to some people. And everybody's around him, picking at him. Someone said, "There's Wahlberg over there. He's from Boston. Go say hi to him." Man, no, I don't want to bother him. I'm not gonna. But I did look over at him, and I couldn't believe how short he was. I'm there. Gee, he's short.
Short. So what was
By the
question?
way, I would be wearing municipal now if we got some stuff
We
to
gotta
kind
get
of.
you some of that. We gotta get you some of that. Max too. Max,
Right, Tim?
Oh, I'll wear it. I'll wear it for sure.
Max asked him yesterday.
Yeah.
So what was the question you asked me before we start talking about Marky Mark?
I forget where we were.
I was kicking extra points. Kicking
extra points. Yeah.
Well, Don Matthews. I got to know Don Matthews, the legendary coach, CFL coach, Don Matthews.
Yeah.
Great guy,
Yeah.
amazing guy. And he said, I never realized how, popular hockey is in Canada. Wow. He's like, he's so popular. He's like, I'm thinking, I heard you're a football player. I said, yeah, but I could never be a running back or middle linebacker. But I said, I could kick field goals. And he says, let's do that. And we'll promote it, and we'll do it every yard. We'll donate $1,000 to Sick Kids Hospital. I said, great idea. So I started warming up, doing it, and Doug Flutie was holding for me. It was amazing. Doug Flutie was holding the ball for me.
And you played in exhibition games. How many did you play during?
Here's the deal. Here's the deal. Knuckles, here's
the deal. Let me
I
tell you
want to
something.
hear the deal.
Let me tell you something.
Here's the deal, Knuckles. So he says, we'll do this. I said, great idea. I said, I'd love to do it. I said, under one condition. If you win the Grey Cup, I get a ring. He said, done.
Wow.
Deal. They win the Grey Cup, Knuckles. I got a ring.
Did you? That's awesome.
Next year
That's
again.
cool.
He says, Domi, you want to do it again? I said, sure. I said, I'd love to get another ring. He says, you'll get a ring if we win too. Did it again. I got 2 Grey Cup rings and 0 Stanley Cup
That's
rings.
amazing.
There you go.
You got
Well-
rings. You got rings.
So
I
what's
got
the
two-
longest? What's the
Yeah,
longest
what else I was gonna
field
ask?
goal?
What's the farther? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I want to know.
In high school, I did in a game, I did a
No,
50.
the Argos.
I don't know. I think it was 32 yards, maybe. Wasn't long. It wasn't that long.
That's cool. How
Yeah.
about high school? What was it in high
58.
school?
58. 58.
No way.
Yeah, 58.
Wow. You ever kick beyond that? Like just practicing? Like what's the furthest one you've ever made?
Oh, I've
that
gotten
it?
over 60 in practices. Yeah. I got over 60s.
I bet. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
On
And
kickoff,
that's all from soccer, probably, right?
yeah, it's all from soccer. But on kickoffs, I used to put it through the uprights. On kickoff, I used to put it through the uprights. Yeah.
Jeez. So speaking of that, in the soccer, when you retired, right? You played some. What was Kosovo? What was that? The Canadian International Soccer League. What was that?
It was like a semi-pro league. It was like a semi-pro league I played for in Toronto. But I had all my teammates come and watch, and one guy tried to take my knee out, and I got up. And I chased him.
Fought him. You dropped.
Yeah.
I chased him all over the field. And
Niedermeyer.
all the news cameras showed that, and the Leafs said, "That's it, no more." But when I was 15,
is that why?
When I was 15
is
years
that
old,
why?
I could have went to Europe to play
played?
soccer. Yeah, my father said, "No, you're too young," and he wouldn't let me go. And I was too young. But then the following year, I got drafted to Peterborough, and he let me go to Peterborough. And, we lived in Toronto, so he let me go to Peterborough and made the team.
No, I'm going to ask you. Seriously. I'm not being a fresh bastard. If you went when you were young, could you have played like in the BPL, like for Liverpool or Man U or one of those teams? Were you that good that you could?
I was good, believe it or not. I was a center forward. I was a goal scorer. I was fast, and I can kick both feet. And I was a playmaker too, but I was a goal scorer. That was really my number one sport. And Maradona was my.
So do you think you could have played at that level?
Well, you don't know because I didn't go. But if you go, it's like anything.
And you didn't get a chance to develop.
Yeah, if you play pros in the NHL, you adjust. You come from college, you start adjusting, right? Yeah. If I went there, I would have been able to adjust pretty fast. It wasn't like I was slow. I was, and they moved the ball quick, and I would probably learn to move the ball faster because, I was pretty, the way Messi plays right now, it's like watching a computer game, right? That like he plays so good and so fluent and so efficient that, it's like, wow, watching this guy play is like how I wanted to play as a kid. But when I was a kid, I wanted to be like Maradona. Maradona was the guy, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I wore number 10 like Maradona. I was, Messi's number 10 too, but Maradona was the guy, the kicking with no laces. Excuse me, with no laces. I used to always warm up. Knuckles with no laces. No laces.
And so you talk about your parents, your dad didn't let you go over there. Fine. You end up playing hockey. They really went into the hockey thing. Did they finally come around in hockey? Were they proud of the career you had? Or did your dad like did he ever give you a hard time about the fighting part of it? Or was he behind that or what?
Well, he would always say, "Why are you fighting? Why are you always fighting?" He would always say that. And unfortunately, I lost my father when I was 21.
Yeah, sorry to hear that. I didn't know that.
Yeah, actually, I found out after I had my best game of my career with the Rangers. Had a goal and assist in 2 fights. Roger Nielsen called me in after the game, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, we got sent to the minors? What the hell? I walk in there, and he said, "Ty, your dad died tonight at 8:30. So it changed my life, actually. And,
that was tough. Roger, too.
That was a moment that, you never
certainly
forget.
Another good coach. Did you like Roger? Did you like him as a coach?
Roger?
Yeah.
Yeah. He just played guys that weren't as good as me ahead of me and played guys that weren't as tough as me ahead of me. But other than that, he was a really nice man. He was a really nice man.
Roger's a good man. I had him in New York when I was there.
I love Roger. He was a special guy. But you asked my mother and my father. My mother never watched hockey ever. My mother and father never drove me
even
to
the
hockey.
NHL. When you were in the NHL, your mom never watched.
Never watched me on TV. Nothing. Right? Ever. And she loved Wayne Gretzky and Mario Lemieux because they were gentlemen, and she thought they were always, And she loved Wayne Gretzky. She loved Wayne Gretzky because Wayne Gretzky cried when he got traded from Edmonton, and she always remembers that. My mom's old school. She never had a cell phone. Yeah. She's never driven a car. She's never eaten at a restaurant. She's old school. Wow. Not many left like her. But she wanted to come to one game. Wayne Gretzky's last game at Maple Leaf Gardens. And she came. And she lasted She lasted one shift because me and Marty got into it. Me and Marty.
Yeah. And your mom's still alive. Your mom is still alive. I saw her on FaceTime yesterday.
Yeah.
She looks great.
But I want to tell you.
Talk to me.
I want to tell you a story.
Yeah.
My mom
Go
left.
right ahead.
In the hallway. She never watched the rest of the game. After the game, Wayne Gretzky knows my mother's there. Okay. His last game in Maple Leaf Gardens, he gets security to get my mother and bring my mother in the locker room, his locker room, and take a picture of his last game in Maple Leaf Gardens. So Wayne Gretzky.
That's awesome.
Wayne Gretzky did that for my mother. That picture's, speaks for itself. It was pretty special. So Mario.
Now, mom and dad, forget about Mario for a second.
Yeah.
Mom and dad, when they came over, where country did they come from and what years?
They came
when they came over from Europe.
They came
Albania.
Albania. Yeah, they came over from Albania.
Are you busting my balls, huh? It's easy on on the computer. If you were here, you wouldn't be doing that.
You would wrestle him right now, Knux, right?
No, I hit him over the head with a baseball bat.
If I was there,
I'm not gonna wrestle him again.
That's the only way. That's the only way.
Yeah, I'm not gonna wrestle him again. I'm no fool. So from Albania, they came over from the old country. Did they come together, your mom and dad?
No, actually, it was a real love story. They wrote letters to each other for years.
Well, let's hear it.
Oh my God, you kidding? You got to get my sister on to tell the details. It's a real love story. They wrote letters for years and years and years, and they've seen each other once, and they only seen each other, and then they started writing letters to each other for 10 years. And my mother, she waited for my father, and then they ended up, coming to Canada.
They came together to Canada.
They met in Canada. They same time they came. My father came first, then brought my mother over. Pretty cool. Yeah, pretty cool story.
Wow, that's cool. That is a cool story.
Yeah,
so,
my father ended up bringing all of my mother's family, all her brothers and sisters over. My father was a special guy. He wore a suit and tie every day, clean shaven every day, and he smiled morning to night. He was always happy and positive. So I'm just, you never know what's going on up here. So I try and kind of live like my father did and be positive and happy every day.
Yeah, that's good. Now, Ty, you were a Habs fan growing up. You're a Guy Lafleur fan and Knuckles fan, which I never knew, and I thought that was so cool that you looked up to me. But so you're a Habs fan.
But big time.
And then you played in the league. Yeah, I know. And then you played in the league. You were a Leaf, a Ranger, all that. Then you retire. You're still a Habs fan. Then Max comes to Montreal, and you're even more of a Habs fan. And now that Max is in Toronto, are you still a Habs fan?
Yes, I am. I always will be because of you, because of Guy Lafleur, and because of Jean Beliveau. The history I have with Guy.
Now, what about Jean? You met Jean, right?
Yeah, actually, it's an amazing story. I was playing in Winnipeg. I was 24 years old, and I was at Portage Mall. Max's mother and I. There's a huge line, and it's a line for Jean Beliveau autograph signing. And I'm like, Jean Beliveau, wow. So I waited in line. The whole and I was, I was a hockey player in Winnipeg. Everybody knew who I was, but I waited. I didn't try to go to the front. And Jean was sitting down the whole time. But when I got to the front of the line, he had the smile on his face, and he knew exactly who I was. And he stood up, and he was a big man.
Yeah.
And he hugged me, and we took pictures and everything. And for the rest of my career, anytime he was in the Bell Center, he would come down before the game. It was a special moment. That's why Montreal is special. He would come down and always get the trainers to bring me out, and I would talk to him and I have the best conversations with him. And anytime he's in that building, he came to see me, and that was the rest of my career. God bless him. And so I just saw his wife Mrs. Belleville last year when Max was playing there. And I went down to the room where you guys all, and they make me feel very, very special when I go to Montreal. They take care of me so well, and how they treat you ex-players there is just amazing. But I saw Miss Belleville, and I said, "Hi, Miss Belleville, Tie Domi." I said, "Oh, your husband was very special to my heart," and she said to me, "Jean spoke about you often." And I started crying, and I hugged her. It was a special moment. So it's
she's a nice lady. Yeah, I have Jean's autograph picture up in my big one. I'll show it to you.
I got his. I got his. Yeah, I got his autograph too.
Yeah, awesome autograph too.
Yeah. He
writes like no one else. But
that's why everybody should do it. So perfect for him. It's just amazing. And he was such a classy gentleman. It's like I never met anybody more classy than Jean Beliveau in hockey.
I went to a skate with him when I was still playing here, and we went. It was a Sunday, and we went and skated with a bunch of kids and signed autographs and everything. And I saw his autograph, and I remember we used to get sticks in the room, and I, just scribble fast as I could, right? And I'd sign an autograph. I'd be like, "Oh, what a pain in the ass this is," right? Just wanted to get it done. And I went with him that day, and I said, "God, Mr. Beliveau," he said. I said, your penmanship, your autograph is unbelievable. And he said, "Chris, don't bother to write it if they can't read it." He said, "I've always done that. Always done that. Don't bother to write it if they can't read it." And I'm telling you, it is the most perfect, classy signature. And he was a perfect, classy man. He was an unbelievable guy. Yeah, incredible.
Really the best. And he was like, he's the symbol of the Montreal Canadiens. He really is, the class of the elegance of the Montreal Canadiens. And Guy, when Max played there, the bond I had with Guy, that was a special times, man. He'd wait for me sometimes after the game in the parking lot. You go down, he'd be waiting there for me.
He's awesome.
He lived it. He knows the game too, man. He knew everything. Yeah. He loved Max, and he would. He knew what was going on with Max. He called a spade, as you know. And Guy was special, man. Guy was.
He was a special guy. I'll tell you a story about Guy. Yeah, me and Chelly were with him the night he retired. He dropped us off at the airport, and we said, "What are you doing? Aren't you going to park and we're going to walk? We'll walk with you." He said, "No, I'm done." And he dropped us off at the front door of the airport, where usually we pull in the parking, right? And he retired. But Guy, God, he was incredible. And I remember what happened. One of the last games was at the Forum, the Bell Center, at the Forum, and Jacques was coaching, Jacques Lemaire. And Guy didn't play in a system. He has to go. And Jacques put in his system in, and Guy was just a natural player. Man, give me the puck. I'm going wide. I'm going to fly down. And that's how he was. Well, there was about 3 minutes left in the game. He was on the ice. He come back on the bench. There's about 2:20 left. And Guy, like he always did, when there was not much time, he thought it was the last shift, he took his tape off his pads, right? And he undid the tape, and he's just ready to go in the locker room. He's not going to get another shift. Jacques Lemaire sees it, and he calls him up the next shift. "Flower, you're up." And Guy looked at him. I'm telling you, the two of them, it was like, and there was some friction there in retirement. They weren't getting along. I don't know if they ever buried the hatchet. I hope they did.
I hope because they did, that doesn't sound too good. Knowing Guy.
No, it didn't sound good, but he called Guy up, and Guy was up. He went on the ice, and his pad was like turning sideways. and I'm sitting there on the bench. I'm going, "Oh man, this is not going to be good." He was not happy. They had some words afterwards, but it was sad. And it sucked. They played together so many years, and then Jacques coaching now, and one thing, Jacques, he could coach players up. He had a harder time coaching talent. He was better coaching guys like you and me. Tim, not so much, because Tim.
Yeah, I'm uncoachable. Speaking of coaching, you ever think about coaching, Ty? Or did you ever get into coaching?
No, actually, when I retired, though, Pat Quinn was best buddies with Glenn Sather. And Glenn Sather asked me if I wanted to be assistant GM in New York. And, I just went through, divorce and all that stuff. So I never even thought of leaving my kids. So, even when after that, Mario offered me 3 years to go to Pittsburgh, and I didn't want to continue playing and leave my kids. So, I once I was done, and I'm happy just to be a father and enjoying.
All right, you played hockey your whole career. If you couldn't have played hockey, just say, what other career path would you have taken? Do you think? Forget about sports. What would have interested you in life?
Well, I think I always, because my father, he was always an entrepreneur. So I was always kind of being an entrepreneur myself as a hockey player. And I was interested in a lot of different things. I couldn't be one thing, as you probably know. So just real estate, private equity, all that stuff kind of always intrigued me when I was a kid. And not that I knew anything about it, but I was just interested in it because I was like, what is private equity? So that was I was always interested in work with Jerry Schwartz one summer in RawKnux when I was 25 years old. And that was pretty cool experience.
And you started learning the ropes. Is that it?
Yeah.
When you were a young player?
Yeah. When I was playing, I lost my father. So I dipped my toe in a lot of different things. And, you go through experiences and you can't just say, I'm going to do this, and kind of just kept going.
Let me ask you today. And again, I think I know you're pretty good, but what do you do today? Heather, your wife, has a very successful real estate business. She's awesome. Heather has an awesome real estate business. But when I see you on Instagram and going around everything, you look like fucking America's guest, okay? So, what do you do for a living now?
I don't do much.
America's fucking guest.
I just try and
You
stay
took Mike Uruzione's place. You took his place. Everywhere I look, you're in fucking Florida. You're in LA with Wahlberg. You're with Brady in Florida. Tommy Brady. Tommy, the GOAT. Who else? Drake. Post Malone. You and Chelly, you got the corner of the market on it.
What are you reading off there? What kind of card are you reading off there?
No, I'm not reading off anything.
I can see
there's nowhere in your.
Seriously.
There's nothing in your.
Post Malone.
Post Malone? I know how to spell Post Malone. Come on. Here's the deal.
Carl is a basketball player, right? He's a basketball player.
Post Malone's a quarterback
for the Jazz. He played for the Jazz.
He's a quarterback for the New Orleans Saints. Post Malone.
By the way, you should change the podcast name from Knuckles to Here's the Deal.
Here's the deal. I like that.
Here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
Here's the deal. Here's the deal.
We'll have to talk about that one. So
Knuckles,
Tom Brady.
I want to be serious for a second. Okay.
All right, let's be serious. Come on.
I want to be serious. I'm proud of you, what you've been through, and being sober now for 7 years. You could have been possibly 12 years. You had one bad day, but that kind of stuff for me and what you do for people and ex-players. I know you're helping a lot of ex-players, and you're an inspiration to all of us. So keep doing what you're doing, and keep being yourself. And I'll always support you any way I can.
I appreciate it.
I get Marky Mark on, but you called them short, so I don't know if he's gonna come on now. Marky Mark won't come on now.
Well, listen. Here's the deal. He can sit in the same seat that you're sitting in. He can sit in the same seat you're sitting in right now, but you'll have to put a couple of phone books there for him so he can get his.
Knuckles, you're really pushing the limit, bro. Wow.
No, Marky Mark is dissing me. I'm a local boy. I grew up in Boston too. Come on, he's not the only Bostonian. Come on, I'm a big fan of his. I love him.
Yeah.
I eat at Wahlburgers.
Oh, those are good.
I don't drink the tequila, and I'm dying for some municipal gear for Tim and I. And I didn't know if you know, but Tim's a sober man too, you know.
That's awesome.
My boy.
That's great, Tim.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome, man.
Yeah.
Love to hear that stuff, guys. Really.
No, Knux is the man. You're right. You're right, Ty. Knux is it's awesome. I'm definitely
yeah.
lucky.
And here's the deal,
Yeah,
Tim. Here's the deal. Tim, here's the deal.
Okay.
Yeah, but here's the deal.
Knuckles is one of my idols. Okay. When I was coming to Montreal all the time, he always says,
Yeah.
Ty, you got to come to my house. You got to come to my house. I'm a great cook. I'll cook your meal. I go to his house. I go Timbuktu. Took me forever to get there, right? Here's the deal. He cooked the day before I got there. He had no food for me. I was starving. I went to the airport with no food. He left me no food. So I have not tried his food yet. So next time I come to Montreal, he goes, here's the deal. I'll cook you some beer lemon,
Yeah.
some beer lemon, chicken lemon.
Ty came out to visit me. Okay. I just had my knee replaced.
And
I'm sitting on the couch with my knee up. Huh?
You
You're cooking injured. He was cooking injured.
No, I have my knee replaced.
No, that was another time I went and saw you.
No, okay, that was another time.
Yeah. I've been to your house a few times, Knuckles. I know. Like, I've been punching the head.
I wasn't gonna. I know I was gonna cook you dinner, but you know, you come at like 2 in the afternoon. 2 in the afternoon. Oh, I got a flight at 4. How am I gonna cook you dinner? You just show up.
Yeah.
I mean, come on. So next time, when
You'll grill him some Wahlburgers. Next time you cook him some Wahlburgers. Yeah.
By the way, his burgers are doing great in the grocery store. The Wahlburgers burgers.
Are they?
Yeah, they're good. I
haven't seen them.
Yeah, they're there, Knuckles.
Oh, yeah.
Get them on a
Are they in
barbecue.
Canada?
Yeah.
Are they
Doing
in
great.
Canada? I haven't seen them.
Yes.
I don't think they're in Quebec. I haven't seen a Wahlburger in Quebec.
Oh, well, I'm going to have to ask him.
Huh?
I'm going to ask him.
Yeah, they're not in Quebec yet. I haven't seen them. You know.
Here's the deal.
So-
what other questions?
So
you
you're
got?
in Toronto now. Where are you heading next?
Where am I heading next? I'm here, man. I'm with my mother, enjoying my time with my mother, and
Whoop. Peter Svoboda calling me.
That's a fine.
That's a fine. That is. I thought I had my ringer off. That's terrible.
here's the deal, Knuckles.
Terrible.
When you have a show, you should have
All
a
right.
ringer.
I had it off.
Okay,
I don't know what
else?
happened. It must be a defect. It's a defect in the Apple phone.
What else you got for me, Knuckles?
So-
Tim, what do you got?
That's it. That's
I think
it.
We got the eulogy
I don't know.
question, right? Knox, the eulogy question.
If you could write your own eulogy,
There it is.
what would it be?
Treated everybody the same from start to finish, and left it all out
I
there
like that.
when he played.
Knox, yours would be, here's the deal.
Yeah. Here's the
Here's
deal.
the deal.
Yeah,
At the park in New York. At the park in
Park
New
the
York.
car in Harvard Yard. You
Love
know
it.
what? You always bust my balls about my accent because you wish you could really speak that way normally.
No, Knuckles.
Right?
You guys, you got a real. So Wahlberg's from Dorchester, and you're from
I'm from West Roxbury.
West Roxbury.
West Roxbury.
And what's
West
Dorchester?
Roxbury.
compared-
And
Is
Wahlberg's from.
Dorchester tougher than your neighborhood, or his tougher?
Well, I would question that. He'll probably say his was tougher, but I'd question that. He's from Dirty Dot. They call it Dirty Dot. He's from Dirty Dorchester.
Dirty
Yeah.
Dorchester.
But yeah, Dirty Dot. Yeah, I would have taken care of that crew, the whole Wahlberg crew growing up. No problem.
Yeah, he was here for a couple of days, challenging me every day. It's unbelievable. The guy actually,
I know he's an
actually-
animal.
actually-
Working out. Yeah.
no. I mean, he thinks he can actually, if we like, he wants to challenge me to a boxing match for charity. He thinks he can take me.
You really? He really thinks that?
Yeah.
Like,
when he was shooting the fighter, I told him.
Would you put the headgear on? Would you?
When he was shooting that Mickey Ward movie, the fighter, I went to Boston. I called you actually. That's when you're going through tough times back then.
Yeah.
Called you and
yeah, that's all right. Those are over.
Yeah, you remember that?
Yeah, so he thinks he can fight you.
Yeah, I used to go to set and they would go, cut, too close to Mark's face. Like, are you kidding me? The guy's never been hit. I said, if I hit you once, I'll end your freaking career. He's like, oh yeah. Like, are you kidding me?
I don't think that would end well.
Marky Mark, listen, Marky Mark.
Yeah, I don't think that would end well if Marky Mark fought you in the ring with the gloves on.
Knuckles. Thank you.
Yeah.
You tell your Boston buddy that next time you talk to him, okay?
Well, you got to put him in front of me. I'll tell him. You know what?
Yeah, I will.
He listen. He puts his pants on the same way I do. No, he probably has somebody put his pants on for him. You know. Marky Mark. Yeah. So, listen, I know you hate talking about hockey, but how about this game today? If there's one rule
Marky
that you don't like.
Marky Mark. Remember Chris Nyland, your Boston buddy? I'm on his show right now. Say hi.
What's up, guys?
What's up there, Mark? How are you, man?
What's going on?
Good. How are you guys?
Good. Now, Ty's.
Look at the municipal. They're just asking.
Dirty Dorchester. Is he calling from Dirty Dorchester?
No, not Dirty Dot.
No, Dirty.
Ty's just telling me he could. You think you could take him in the ring with the gloves on? Could you?
That would be 100% guaranteed fact in 1 minute.
Whoa. How's that, Ty? Yeah, you're not talking big now.
Frankie, how about your Wahlburgers in the retail stores, number one? They don't have them in Montreal, he says. Do they have them in Canada?
No.
Oh, you're right. They don't.
I told you. I said I would have bought them if they were there.
Yeah, they don't have them. You got to get them.
Give him some sense.
He'll send you some. He'll send to you.
You can try it.
I love it. I'd love to try the Muni, too. I got to check it out.
The municipal.
The only stuff I can't do is I love the Muni, but I can't do the tequila.
Municipal's not. Yeah, he doesn't drink anymore. He's been sober for years.
Thank God.
Yeah, thank God.
That's awesome.
All right, Frank. I just wanted you to say hi to these guys.
Yeah. Awesome.
I got bad service.
Hey, Mark, thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No problem. God bless you guys.
You can end the
Love
show now.
All right, take care. Way to go. Thanks, Ty. That was cool.
Yeah,
Marky Mark. There's Marky Mark. I didn't tell you.
So he said he was pretty confident that he would fucking take it.
Yeah, he's pretty confident he can kick your ass.
Yeah.
I think you're going to have to do it. I think you're going to have to do it now because we're going to put that out there. That's going to get out there. Wahlberg challenge you, and you're not going to fight him.
Fucking,
hey, one punch ends his career. That pretty face gets caved right in. Okay? Over. He's got 20 years left in his life and his career. He's going like this. He doesn't want to go like this. Yeah. Because if I go squash that pretty face, his career's over.
Well, you can wear the real big gloves, right? You could just wear the real big gloves, you know?
So you don't
wear
the headgear.
Big pillows, headgear.
Yeah. Headgear? No chance am I wearing headgear. If I actually go with him, I will actually go with him. But I don't want to, I don't want to hurt him. I love him. We're like brothers. But I'm telling you, he's getting way too brave. The last couple of days, I'm telling you. I don't know what's got him.
He is in good shape.
Oh, okay.
Please. How old is he now? How old's Marky Mark?
Marky Mark's a year younger than me. 1 year younger.
How old are you?
53.
How old are you?
53. Marky Mark.
He's 52. God, he looks like Marky Mark looks like he's about 35. You look like you're about 53.
Okay, here's the deal, Knuckles. Here's the deal.
All right, bring
Good
it.
deal.
I love
Bring
you,
it.
man. I love you. And
I love you too, and I appreciate you coming on.
Hey, Tim, all these guys that asked me to do podcasts, the hockey guys, all these hockey guys, I always say, I got to do Knuckles and Tim. I got to do Knuckles and Tim. I told Knuckles, out of respect, for you, Knuckles, for you. Okay, Marky Mark?
You said you never went on. You've been on other podcasts. I saw
No,
you.
I did Spit and Chicklets the early days. Yeah, I did. I told you that. I told you that. The early days I did Spit and Chicklets, but I don't know. And I don't love talking about fighting. But you
I know you don't.
You fought as much as me and you understand it, so what the hell? And we talk about it.
I get it. I get it.
You know, Proby's.
All right, listen.
Here's the deal.
Here's the deal. One of these days, you gotta maybe when the Leafs come to play the Habs, you come up here with Heather. We'll go for dinner and go to the game. What do you say?
Yeah,
we got to meet Heather
You're not
one
gonna
day.
cook. You got to cook for him, Nux.
I will do that too. I'll cook him a gourmet meal, Albanian food.
Gourmet. Tim,
You want
told me
Albanian food?
gourmet meal the other night. Knuckles, tell him what you cooked.
Yeah,
Well, the other night I cooked Greek. I cooked unbelievable lamb chops with lemon potatoes, tzatziki,
Potatoes.
grilled broccoli with olive oil and lemon. Unbelievable meal. Great Greek meal. I can cook Albanian. And I've never cooked Albanian, but if you come here, I will make you an Albanian meal.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah, and you'll love it.
Well, that was fun, guys.
Okay?
I really appreciate you guys
Yeah,
having me.
that was awesome. Hey everyone, thanks for listening to the Raw Knuckles podcast. Don't forget to like, follow, and subscribe.